Hi there, Penny. How are you doing? Okay, we have just finished our first lesson about life, in which, as you have seen, we have been talking about different life processes. All right. So let's make a quick summary, just in case that you need, to review quickly before an exam, for example, or just you want to see a video while you're on the subway and you don't know what else to watch. Okay, then you can always watch this lesson. Alright, as we have already said in the blog, life processes allow us to know if something is or not alive. As you said, you can always poke something, but you always have the risk of it tearing your hand apart. So just to stay in the safe side, we can also remember these 7 life processes that every living creature does. Okay, that means that if you want to know if something is alive or is not alive, you can check this list. You can see if it accomplishes all these 7 processes, and if it does, then it's a living creature. If it doesn't, then it's not. Okay, remember, every living creature accomplishes these 7 processes. Okay, I'd like to start with the 2 of them that I think are most important. Okay, first of all, we have, sorry, there's no way you can see that. Okay, we have nutrition. Okay, nutrition. Okay, we are having some problems with this. There you go. Nutrition, which is obviously eating. Okay, it's a way of getting the materials you need for creating life. Okay, yeah, it's basically that. There are 2 ways of nutrition. Okay, we have like plants who are able to get the chemicals they need from the sun. For example, they make, taking the energy from the sun and minerals and things like that from the ground. They make their own chemicals. Okay, the chemicals they need to grow and to make other functions. And then we have rest of the living creatures who are not able to make their own chemicals and need to eat other creatures or plants. Okay, so the rest of the living creatures eat other living creatures or plants. Okay, then the second, let's use a different color because we can. So the second will be respiration. Great. Okay, we are having real troubles with this respiration. Okay, respiration, remember, is not the same as breathing, but respiration is turning the chemicals you've gotten from nutrition into energy. Okay, so from respiration we get energy. Okay, this is a mess. I'm having some problems with the whiteboard. There you go, energy. Okay, whereas for nutrition we got it, remember, chemicals. There you go, more or less. Okay, so in respiration, as I was saying, we get the energy we need for all the different processes and to make our living. And what we do is we transform the chemicals we have gotten from nutrition into energy, right? To do that, most of the living creatures need an extra supply of oxygen, right? And the problem is that when we get this oxygen in and we make all these amazing things that our body does to transform chemicals into energy, we create another gas. We create carbon dioxide, and we need to expel it. All right. So respiration creates needs. All right. Respiration needs. There you go. Needs oxygen. And expels I'm having some real troubles with my whiteboard. Expels carbon dioxide. Dioxide. Well, the whiteboard is not working really well. I'm sorry about that, Penny, but I think you're getting it. Okay. Read it? Dioxide. All right. And to do this, okay, to get the oxygen in and take the carbon dioxide out, we breathe. All right. So remember, breathing is just a part of the process of respiration, but it's not respiration. It's not the same. Sorry. No. Okay, there. So the third one would be, let's do it this one, okay, would be response. Alright, which basically means that every living creature interacts with its environment. So when it's any kind of stimuli, the living creature reacts in some way. Okay, obviously not all the living creatures react to all the stimuli, and obviously not all of them react in the same way. But every living creature reacts to a stimuli, basically because it's an important thing to stay alive. Right? And one important way of response is what we call the fourth life process, which is movement. Okay, it's a really obvious way of response. I'm sorry about the whiteboard. Okay, I will have to get used to it. It's a really important way of response because it's the way most animals look for shelter, food, partners. So it's really important. It's also the way animals, for example, get away from any danger. Okay, so it's a really important way of response. Take into account that every living creature does all this stuff. So that means that also plants, which are obviously living creatures, move. Okay, maybe you don't see a plant walking around, but you can see how a plant bends to the sun, or how a flower blooms. Okay, that's also a kind of movement. So remember, every living creature moves. And then we go to the fifth one. Let's do it in pink, for example. Okay, which would be excretion. Or what is the same, to get rid of things. Get rid of things. Okay, what kind of things? Well, for example, we have, as we said, when we breathe, okay, for the respiration, we take in oxygen and we produce carbon dioxide, and we need to get rid of that carbon dioxide. So breathing, it's a way of excretion, because we put away this carbon dioxide. The most famous way of excretion, of course, it's poo, these droppings, or pee, or even sweat. What happens there is that our body, when turning the food into energy, creates some waste material. Okay, why? Well, because most of the animals, as we have said before, okay, remember that in nutrition, most of the living creatures eat other living creatures or plants, and in doing so, we we're getting ourselves some chemicals that we don't need and that we cannot store at all. So we really need to get rid of them. Okay, so that's why these creatures that eat other living creatures or eat plants have more disposal material. Okay, we have more excretion. We need to get rid of more things. Whereas plants, for example, they don't need to to take out so much material, because they they produce just the chemicals they really need. Okay, so they don't have extra materials they need to get rid of, or at least not so many as the rest of the living creatures does. Okay, then we have the sixth one, which we could put in this green, for example. No, let's go blue. Yeah, I like blue. Okay, so we have growth. Every living creature grows. Okay, every living creature tends to go bigger or more complex or able of doing more things. All right, and then the last one we have would be reproduction. All right, okay, E's are becoming quite complicated. There you go. Reproduction. Okay, which is in some way a kind of growth, because it's not the individual that grows, but the species that grows, because reproduction consists exactly in getting to be more members of your species, because reproduction consists on creating a similar way of life. I mean, if you are a human, reproduction for you is creating more humans. If you are a ladybug, reproduction for you means creating more ladybugs. Okay, so reproduction means creating more individuals like yourself, similar to yourself, right? If there would be no reproduction, if there wasn't reproduction, sorry, then that species would go extinct, right? So it's kind of important. And we have basically two ways of reproduction: asexual, okay, asexual, there you go, which basically means that just one individual is able of reproducing himself. There are many plants and microbes that can do these kind of things. And then we have the other, let me go up a little bit, sorry, that wasn't my idea. Okay, there. And we have the other way of reproduction, which is sexual reproduction, which basically means that there are two individuals of the same species, each of them with a different sex cell, and when these sex cells of two individuals come together, they join together, they build a new individual. All right. Sexual is probably the most common one of the two of them, because it has proven important advantages for preservation. Okay, to preserve the species. So it's a quite common way of reproduction. All right. So we have all of them. Let's see them all. The 7 of them: nutrition, respiration, response, movement, excretion, growth, and reproduction. Just in case you have any trouble to remember them, okay, there is an interesting rule you can follow, which is you take the M for movement, you take the R for response, for example, which is similar to movement, and then you take we have a problem, because response, it's also commonly known as sensitivity. Okay, so response, it's the same as sensitivity. Sensitivity. There you go. Okay, why is important that response is the same as sensitivity? I'll show you in just a second. As I was saying, you take the M for movement, then you take the R for reproduction, for example, right? And you take the S for sensitivity, okay, which is, remember, the same as response, and you have misses. And if you get the G for growth, the R for respiration, E for excretion, oh sorry, that's just part of the E. Okay, wait a sec. I think I have most of the E there, yeah. So the E for excretion, and we are just needing the N for nutrition, and there you have it, Mrs. Gren. Alright, so with Mrs. Gren you can remember all of the 7 life processes. Remember, M for movement, R for reproduction, S for sensitivity or response is the same, right? D for growth, R for respiration. Okay, this first R was for reproduction, the second R then stands for respiration. E for sorry, do you remember the E, what does it stand for? For excretion, exactly. Okay, so E for excretion and N for nutrition. Movement, reproduction, sensitivity or response, growth, respiration, excretion, and nutrition. Miss Gren, the 7 life processes. Okay, that's been all for today. That's been all for the first lesson. It's a really easy one. I'm sure you will remember, and now you are completely able of knowing if something is alive or not. Okay, take good care. We'll see you. Bye.